next, it's time for Truth or Fake. Catalina Marchand Abreu is here in studio. Catalina, in tonight's edition, you are discussing Ron Vara. He's the so-called expert economist who some claim inspired Trump's tariff war. Tell us more.
That's right. U.S. President Donald Trump has pushed the stock market into the brink of terror with his tariff crusade and a 20% drop from recent highs, faster than any president in modern history. So if you're wondering who is the mastermind behind Donald Trump's disastrous tariff war, it's this man right here called Peter Navarro, Trump's senior counselor for trade and manufacturing, his chief trade advisor since the 2016 campaign and first presidential term. 75-year-old Navarro is a Harvard-educated economist who has long pushed for aggressive trade tactics, especially against China, having written many books on the topic. Navarro also went to prison for roughly 4 months for defying a January 6th committee subpoena. And now that he's out of prison and back on Trump's payroll since December as top trade advisor, he continues to be a staunch defender of Trump's protectionist views, echoing his support for tariffs as he continues to feed Trump anti-China ideas, leading to an overall global trade war.
Tell us then, Catalina, how exactly did Peter Navarro come to work at the White House?
Well, the whole story dates back to Trump's first presidential campaign, an episode recounted in this lengthy Vanity Fair 2017 investigation. They report that back then, Trump asked his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, to do some research on who could speak more substantively about China, as Kushner reportedly simply went to Amazon, where he was struck by the title of one book called Death by China, co-authored by Peter Navarro, who then agreed to join Donald Trump's team as the campaign's only economic advisor. Here's where it all began then with this book, a collection of outlandish claims, often spreading misinformation against China, claiming, for instance, that Chinese toys will poison your children or that pajamas sewn in China catch fire. In fact, in this book, he doesn't want you to buy anything from China at all. And in this book, Navarro often quotes an expert source called Ron Vara, who he uses primarily to advance these anti-Chinese views, with lines like, only the Chinese can turn a leather sofa into an acid bath. So these are Ron Vara's opinions, this character, and if you think this is crazy, there's more. Ron Vara, it turns out, does not even exist. So this fact was first revealed by the Chronicle of Higher Education in 2019, who found that Ron Vara is actually a fictional character invented and often quoted by Peter Navarro in his work, who, when contacted by this publication, basically admitted to inventing this fictional character or expert source, whatever you want to call it, in this statement, describing him as a whimsical device and pen name for opinions and purely for entertainment value, not a source of fact. Information that probably should have been disclosed a lot earlier.
And Navarro himself making headlines once again since that investigation in 2019. Tell us more about that, Catalina.
That's right, Sharon. Even though the truth behind this Ron Vara was disclosed since 2019, Peter Navarro's fictional character is making headlines once again following Trump's Liberation Day tariff announcements, when MSNBC anchor Rachel Maddow dedicated an entire segment on Saturday to criticizing Peter Navarro, claiming this to be the ridiculous real story behind Trump's tariff plan, where they also explained that Ron Vara, per the 2019 investigation, is actually an anagram for Peter Navarro.
Who is Ron Vara? Ron Vara is an anagram of Navarro, which is his last name.
So as you can see, an anagram for Peter Navarro. Maddow also claims that this is how the Trump administration, as you just said, crafted its tariff policy. This news obviously sparked anger online, as users also accused Donald Trump or the administration of creating its trade policy based on the fake expert source Ron Vara, often cited by Navarro in his work. This user says the intellectual foundation for Trump's tariff policy is built upon the theories of a fake economist named Ron Vara, made up by Peter Navarro. Or this Suzer says weaponizing disinformation 101, a global recession triggered. Yikes. So trillions wiped off the American market based on this fictional character, Ron Vara. Well, we're definitely not going to say that this is a fake, as Navarro makes more headlines again today in a new clash with Elon Musk after spreading what Musk says to be fake claims about Tesla, as this feud over tariffs between Donald Trump's two top advisors continues to play out in the White House after Musk seemed to distance himself from Trump's protectionist values or views, pushing for free trade policies between the U.S. and Europe.
Catalina, thanks so much for all of that. That's Catalina Marchand-Abru with tonight's Truth or Fake. Well, do stay with us. We'll be right back after this short break.